Welcome, this is Helen from helensheartcreations.com. Thank you for joining me in my studio today. Today's project is going to be to make another one in the set of these cards that are showcasing our laser cut detailed papers. I designed something similar to this last year, and I must admit that this is actually last year's laser cut detailed paper. Which I'm just using up. This is my very last sheet of it, and there are, look, it's just like, oh yeah, I've cut so much from it, and I've used it to make things like this, and I've also cut pieces out to make cards like this with images on them. You may not have found it this year. It's hiding away on the Paper Basics on the bottom of page 169. And there it is, the laser detailed paper. Laser cut detailed speciality paper. There we go. Detailed laser cut speciality paper. Get the name right, Helen. I'm also using Sia Silhouette Designer Series paper. This is so beautifully vibrant. And I'm actually using the reverse sides, which are these really dramatic, bold, coloured, almost like this. To me, this one's like a swirling universe or something like that. It's just, they are absolutely stunning, and maybe this one, the stormy sky. So I think really the sky is the limit with this paper, or maybe not even the sky, the universe. Here we can go way beyond with these beautiful, beautiful papers. So what I have done is I have used them with the corresponding coordinating, what's this stuff? Cardstock to go with it. So this is Real Red, this is Mango Melody, this is Blackberry Bliss. The sentiment actually comes from the stamp set Very Versailles. It's this Have a Beautiful Day one here. This is a lovely stamp set, kind of vintagey, kind of shabby chic, very versatile for backgrounds, and yeah, and some lovely sentiments. Always thinking of you, have a beautiful day, and thank you, plus these lovely other background stamps. So let's get started. I'm a very clumsy and messy crafter, so actually I've prepared everything ahead of time because otherwise we'd be here all day and you'd be watching me fumbling, doing all sorts of things. But I will show you how I did it all. It's really very straightforward. The main tool that I've used is the oval layering dies, and I've used the 3 smallest ones to make the layered sentiment, and the 3 largest ones to make the insert with the detailed laser cut speciality paper. Well, that's quite a mouthful, isn't it? So the basics are just as usual. It's you'll need pretty much a whole sheet of A4 cardstock, cut in half to make the card base, and then folded in half to make an A6, standard A6 card. And then what I did was I took, from the other half, I cut a layer. That is just, I only cut it like 1/8 of an inch, or 3 millimeters, 2.5 or 3 millimeters less than the actual card size. So it's a very, very small border around the outside. And I used, taking the largest 3 dies, I used the smallest one of those to cut out a circle from that. And you won't actually need that, but set it aside. I'm sure it'll be another project, and it's an oval, not a circle. My apologies. And then I used a piece of Whisper White, and that's going to go on the inside. And this is 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimetre less than the actual size of the card, so you get a little bit wider of the blue border around that. And so from the Designer Series paper, you need a piece that is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. That's going to be the backing for this. And don't worry about writing these measurements down. I'll put them over on my blog. And that is 7, I believe, by 9.5 centimeters. And what I did was, taking the aperture, I decided on what piece of, I can't really show you now because I don't have anything left of it, but I decided where I wanted it on the piece of paper and then rough cut around it. And then I used the middle size of these to cut it out. So I've pretty much got it the right size to begin with. And then all I'm going to need to do is stick it down and put that, which I'll show you. I've tried a couple of different ways of doing it, and I think I've found the way that works best for me anyway, so I'll show you what that one is. Another piece of the Designer Series paper is 3/4 of an inch, which is what, 2 centimeters? 2 centimeters. And then you can make it, depending on what you decide to do, it's going to go on here either like that or like that. So you'll need to cut it to the right length, depending on which way round you want to put it. And then, I don't know if you can actually see on here, but this does have a little frame around it. So that frame is cut using, from the 3 largest dies, the largest, not the next largest, but the next one down, the same size that you have used to cut this aperture. So that cuts that, and that one cuts that. And then from the hole that came out of there, I used the largest of the small dies to cut that piece. Another scrap of the Designer Series paper is cut with the middle size, and then, having stamped on a scrap of white Whisper White with the sentiment, I then cut out with the smallest of those dies. So I hope that all makes sense. I will write it all down on my blog. And now it's just a matter of assembling it. And really, the fiddliest thing to assemble is this. So if you decide kind of well, not exactly, but roughly where you want it to go and which orientation you want it in, which you will have done before you actually cut it, right? And then I use Tombow glue for this. This is great glue. Standing up, I'm just going to sit down for a moment to do this. Hopefully I'll stay in shot. The great thing about Tombow glue, oops, this is a new one, and it's just come out rather thick just then. But if you just put a few dots of glue, and like I said, this is a new, this is a new bottle, so it's coming rather fast. So just bear with me while I just get the feel for it. If you squeeze and then allow it to suck back a bit, you get a little less out. But the great thing about Tombow is you can let it dry a bit before you stick it down. And I do tend to do that, actually. And let's do this. So I try and put it on the large bits. There we go. So yeah, if you let Tombow dry a bit, it is repositionable. So it's actually a very versatile glue. If it's totally wet, you've got lots of wiggle room. You don't really want, but the thing is, when you've got very, very tiny bits, you don't want a lot of wet glue squidging out, right? So I mean, I put a bit too much on there anyway because it was coming through. You can take bits off, especially if you let it dry a bit, it will come off a bit. But what I'm going to do here, see, I told you I was a clumsy crafter. Always happens when I'm on camera. This is about the 3rd time I've tried to do this, which is why I've got so many options of them. I am going to let that dry just a little bit, And while it's drying too, I will do this. I will put on the ring here a little edge of this around here. So what my plan is, now that at the end of this I will have 4 of these, and what I'll do is I'll make a little box, and that becomes a lovely present, and it's either a gift for somebody, or if you do craft fairs and things like that, or you sell your product, you know, going the extra mile differentiates you from other people and what they do. So make a lovely box and put a sentiment on the front of that box, and you've got a beautiful, beautiful gift. So thimbling this is just like anything else that's layered. Oh, no, wrong side. Oh, wrong side, wrong side. This side. Okay. That would be the side that matches, and I don't want... I'm just going to get rid of that little bit of glue that was on there. Otherwise it will be sticking. And then just get that. And these things, you know, they don't have to be absolutely perfect. The eye will make corrections, and, you know, handcrafted has those little quirks that actually are, to me, the little piece of the artistic embellishment to them. So it really, you almost don't want perfection. So those pieces are ready. I can take this piece here and put it inside. Great thing about wet glue is if you put it on while it's wet, you get your wiggle a bit, get it straight, and then if you push it, if it's not too, you can get, I tell you, it's the jinx of the camera. Oh dear. If you let that dry, it will come off later. That's just terrible. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just getting everything in there. It's just a total disaster. Anyway, never mind. We'll just carry on. Carry on regardless. I'm not going to do this a 4th time. So then what I'm going to do is, I rather like the length of this. I'm going to actually put it down the side, and I'm going to do it like that. Okay, so that then does need to be, I work in centimetres, so that, I'm going to cut that off. Just going to do that quickly off camera here. It's going to be 14.35 should be the piece. So let's just double check that. And yep, that's right. And so how many inches is that? That is 5.5 probably, 5 3/4. 5 5/8, 5 5/8 inches. So I'm just going to, again, put a little bit, there is some on there, I think that's part of the problem, there's a little bit of glue's got on my, you know, as I said, I love Tombow, but I do find that when the bottle's new, you have to just be a little bit careful about how it all comes out. So, let me just take this, and I'm going to put it this way up. And I just eyeball, can you see? I just put that to the side. And now I've got my fingers on there, sticky, oh dear, this really is, I can't believe it. I was thinking about doing Facebook Live, but you know what? I don't think live crafting and me gets on very well. It's bad enough. At least with videos, you can actually edit them or redo them or whatever. But like I said, this is the third time attempt at this because it's been like this almost every time. But anyway, so there's that bit, and like I said, that just let it dry, and it will come off if you make an error like that. And if it doesn't, then you cover it with something, put a sentiment. You know, there are always ways of fixing errors. I'm a great believer in that. So now this, so I know that it's going to be, it doesn't matter exactly where it is on here. What I can do actually is I can do it this way. I can look. Helen, you can look at what you're doing. Let's turn it over and put it on there pretty much where you want it to be, like that. And then what I did was, actually I forgot to do, was on the aperture as well, put a little bit of glue all the way around the edge of the oval that you've cut in the layer of it. And also on the rectangle that's going to be the backing, I just put, oops, a little bit on there. Hope I haven't gone over on that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to position that such that I like it. Press it down. And you see it doesn't matter the inside because we're going to put that on there and everything's going to be hunky-dory. So, but before I do that, actually, I put this on first. And I find that I just kind of, if I just roughly line up that edge, and you can manipulate it just a little bit to get it properly lined up in there like that. I'm going to take this spread it with liquid glue, blah blah blah. Slide it into place. Oops, slide it into place. Use the wiggle room to get it where it should be. And then what I did was I put this up on dimensionals to give it some interest and lift. The tip here is if you press down with your nail, it's much easier to get to it pulls up the edges if you do that. And so you can get those off more easily, like that. And then, the right way up helps. And I just overlapped it slightly with the frame that there was around the oval. Just push it over just a little bit. And then, when you're happy that it's in position, and then set it down. And then I think it's really lovely just to finish things off with rhinestones and a bit of bling. I was always very nervous about bling, but actually I'm getting better. And I think that these are the Noble Peacock rhinestones, and this is Pretty Peacock, and I think it is an absolutely beautifully perfect colour for this paper, even though I don't think Pretty Peacock is anywhere near this paper, but certainly, you know, sort of the colours are made up of many colours, so you get colours that are in there, so you just sort of, you know, stick a few on here and there, and it just kind of just gives it a bit of extra. And there it is. I'll deal with that afterwards when it's properly dry. And as I said, mistakes can always be covered up, so you can always, like I said, that will come off, but if it won't, then I can just put another sentiment on a piece of paper and put that on there. And then I have my set. Make a lovely box to put them in, and I have a beautiful gift, and I can even get them the right way up. So thank you for watching. Please press subscribe if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now.